Titus ONeil, or Titus, as we're going to call him because what he did was pretty stupid, has been suspended by the WWE for unprofessional conduct following an incident on Monday's episode of Raw. During the post-show coverage of Daniel Bryan's retirement speech, when the WWE roster was out on the stage, Titus can be seen grabbing Vince McMahon by the arm in what has been described as a playful way. Vince responded by laughing and pushing him away, because provoking a man who goes ballistic at people just for sneezing must have seemed like a good idea. According to PW Insider, however, despite Vince's cheerful response on the broadcast, he was apparently extremely upset by the incident. According to Brian Alvarez of the Wrestling Observer, this was apparently the last straw for Vince, who wants WWE to become a more professional working environment. Titus' suspension is being seen as Vince sending a message to the rest of the locker room in an attempt to get them to act in a more professional manner. Originally, it was being reported that Titus would be suspended for 90 days, but the New York Post has now confirmed his suspension has been reduced to 60 days. This means WWE have yet another main roster star who will miss WrestleMania. Everyone is getting suspended from WWE. First up is Alberto Del Rio. It's easiest that we do this in chronological order. Yesterday, WWE announced that Jose Rodriguez, that's Del Rio's real name, will be starting his 30-day suspension effective today, the 18th of August, for his first violation of their wellness policy. Del Rio was released from his first run with the company back in 2014 for unprofessional conduct and returned last October. This is interesting, as Daily Wrestling News have been reporting that Del Rio might leave WWE once his contract expires this October because he's unhappy with how he's been positioned since his return. They also reported back in May that there was tension backstage between Del Rio and Triple H, as Alberto had been promised a main event push, but the game stopped it from happening. That same site then reported earlier this week that Triple H was responsible for splitting up Del Rio from his real-life girlfriend Paige in the WWE draft to show him who's boss, where Paige went to Raw and Del Rio went to SmackDown. The game reportedly believes Del Rio parties too much, is a liability to the company, and is a bad influence on Paige, who WWE has high hopes for. Which brings us on to our next suspension. Paige has been suspended by WWE. Just a few hours after WWE announced Del Rio's suspension, they then said that Saraya J. Bevis, Paige's real name, will also be suspended for 30 days for her first violation of the company's talent wellness policy. All on her 24th birthday, no less. Many happy returns. Paige hasn't been on WWE television since the 27th of June episode of Raw, where she lost to Charlotte in a women's championship match and has been out of action with shoulder and back injuries. PW Insider says she was filming Total Divas in New York this week and that her suspension might become a storyline on the show. As both of their suspensions begin today, they will be eligible to return to WWE on the 17th of September. But Dave Meltzer has previously reported that Del Rio might have an early out clause in his contract, which will allow him to leave in September rather than October. So perhaps we've already seen the last of Del Rio in WWE. Again. Like the breaking news that Paige has just been suspended for her second violation of WWE's wellness policy. Don't adjust your sets, this is not 52 days ago when Paige was suspended for her first violation of WWE's wellness policy. It's her second, in less than 2 months. Just a few weeks after her boyfriend Alberto Del Rio left the company after also being suspended. And under a month after she posted on Instagram that everything was fine and that the first suspension was because she didn't get her test results back in time. Yeah, everything's fine. There's a popular saying that there's no smoke without fire. So if everything really is fine, I'd be telling Kane to stop playing with the pyro around my house. The news is broken by WWE on ESPN's Twitter account saying, breaking, the WWE has suspended Saraya Jade Bevis, Paige, for 60 days for her second violation of the company's talent wellness policy, which was quickly confirmed by WWE. Paige tweeted, seemingly in reply, same shit, different day. Kids, please don't get prescriptions or doctor's notes, not acceptable. Which is the same kind of excuse as she gave for her first wellness policy violation, that she fell foul of the admin rules rather than any actual drug taking. She then followed up with the much more critical tweet, rules apply depending on your status, which seems like a reference to how the wellness policy doesn't apply to part-time performers like Triple H, The Rock and Brock Lesnar, as was exposed by the latter's UFC drug test failure earlier this year. Paige's dad, Ricky Knight, has made a statement on Facebook supporting his daughter's claims. Okay, here we go again. Yes, I know about my daughter's suspended once again. She has not failed a drugs test. My daughter has had a long-term neck injury which, if I'm honest, has not been dealt with. I have asked my daughter to return to UK for help with this injury as help and direction in the USA has not been forthcoming, if I'm honest. She has been in pain and out of in-ring action for a fair while now and has been prescribed painkillers, which apparently is against the wellness program. I feel my daughter has been let down big time in the USA, and the proper care and advice needed in the position she has been in has not happened. To say I am pissed off with this situation is an understatement. This is my statement. I am not open to questions. Thank you for your cooperation. Paige now has 2 strikes on WWE's wellness program. One more means she'll be released from WWE. There's always the Randy Orton rule where you can have 1 strike removed if you undergo a redemption program, but you need to have been clean for 18 months. It was widely reported that up until the week before her first suspension was up, Paige was seeking legal counsel to get out of her WWE contract, but then decided against it. Now she's been suspended again, and how she's reacted on social media, it's not looking good for her WWE career. Unless it's all a brilliant wrestling storyline, but it probably isn't.
Hello and welcome to this WrestleTalk news flash. I'm Francesca Wood, and boy, this is a big one. Don't be rude. Now, former WWE World Heavyweight Champion and company Golden Boy Roman Reigns has been suspended for 30 days for his first violation of the WWE wellness policy. I know what you're thinking, this has to be a storyline, right? Well, no, it doesn't look like it. Earlier this evening, WWE announced the suspension in a statement on their website, which included a tweet from Reigns saying, "I apologise to my family, friends and fans for my mistake in violating WWE's wellness policy. No excuses. I own it." It's also unlikely that WWE would book a story like this, as it looks pretty bad on the company to have their top star being suspended for drug use. This just goes to show that the company is getting more and more serious about cracking down on drug use by their roster.